I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now, just for a moment. Put everything else aside, because what is about to happen in the next few minutes is not something you plan for today. And sometimes the most important discoveries come exactly like that. Unplanned, unexpected, arriving quietly at the exact moment you needed them most. We are going to do something very simple together. I am going to show you 5 doors, and you're going to choose one. That is all. One choice. No thinking. No analyzing. No trying to figure out the right answer. Because there is no right answer here. There's only your answer. And your answer is going to reveal something that most people spend their entire lives never finding out about themselves. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist who changed the way the entire world understands the human mind. He was a student of Sigmund Freud, and then went far beyond what Freud ever imagined. Jung spent decades studying thousands of patients, analyzing their dreams, their fears, their choices, their symbols. And he arrived at one conclusion that was so profound it is still changing lives more than 60 years after his death. He said that inside every single human being there exists a hidden self, a self that has been pushed into the dark, a self that was told it was too much, or not enough, or simply not acceptable. And he called this hidden self the shadow. Now, when most people hear the word shadow, they think of something evil, something dangerous, something to be afraid of. But Jung said the opposite. Jung said the shadow is not your enemy. The shadow is the most honest part of you. It is the part that holds everything you were forced to hide, everything you were told to suppress, every desire, every fear, every quality, every truth that did not fit into the version of yourself you were taught to present to the world. And here is what Jung understood more deeply than almost anyone before him. He said that whatever you refuse to face inside yourself does not disappear. It goes underground. And from underground, it controls you in ways you cannot even see. Your reactions that feel too big for the situation. The relationships that keep repeating the same painful pattern. The decisions that make no logical sense, but feel impossible to resist. Jung said all of that is the shadow speaking. Not to destroy you, but to be heard, to be brought back into the light, to be integrated, to finally become part of the whole person you were always meant to be. And today, the door you choose is going to tell us exactly which part of your shadow is trying to speak to you right now. In this season, in this chapter of your life. So before I show you the doors, I need you to do one thing. I need you to make a genuine promise to yourself. Promise that you will trust your very first instinct. The first door that catches your attention. The first one that pulls at something inside you, even if you do not know why. Especially if you do not know why. Because the part of you that will make this choice is not your thinking mind. It is something older than your thinking mind. Something that has been watching your entire life and knows things about you that your conscious self has never been allowed to say out loud. Are you ready? Look at the 5 doors and choose. The first door is old, very old. It is made of dark, heavy wood, almost black with age. The iron handle is cold and slightly rusted. This door stands alone at the edge of a dense forest. Trees pressing close on both sides. The door is slightly open, just enough to see that whatever is inside is darker than the forest itself. There is no path leading to this door. No one sent you here. You simply found it. The second door is made entirely of glass. Modern, clean, perfectly transparent. You can see straight through it into a bright open space filled with light. Everything inside looks organized, clear, achievable. This door belongs to a tall building that stretches upward out of sight. The handle is polished silver. The door is closed but unlocked. All you have to do is push. The third door is bursting with color. It is painted in warm Mediterranean blue with intricate patterns along the edges. Flowers grow on both sides of it. The sun is warm here. There's a faint sound of music somewhere beyond it. This door is set into an old stone wall covered with climbing vines. It is slightly ajar. The air coming through it smells like something you remember from a long time ago, but cannot quite name. The fourth door is made of stone. Ancient stone, carved directly into the face of a massive rock wall. There are symbols etched into the surface that no modern language can fully translate. This door is heavy. You can feel the weight of it just by looking at it. It is partially open, as if someone or something knew you were coming. There's a faint golden light coming from the gap. The fifth door is the most ordinary thing you have ever seen. White painted wood, simple silver handle. The kind of door that belongs to any house, on any street, in any city in the world. There is nothing remarkable about it at all, except for one thing, the light coming from underneath it, soft, warm, steady, like something inside has been waiting patiently for a very long time. Have you chosen your door? Hold it in your mind. Do not second-guess yourself. The door that pulled at you first is the right one. And now let us go deeper into what your choice is really saying about you. If you chose the first door, the old dark wooden door at the edge of the forest, your shadow is carrying something that Jung called the orphan wound. And I want you to hear this carefully because the word orphan here does not mean what you might think. The orphan archetype in Jungian psychology is not about being literally without parents. It is about the deep internal experience of feeling fundamentally alone in your understanding of the world, of feeling like you see things differently than the people around you, of carrying a persistent sense that you somehow arrived in the wrong life, the wrong family, the wrong time. And rather than expressing that feeling, you learn to simply keep walking, to push through, to appear more okay than you actually are. The dark forest door called to you because your unconscious recognizes it. You have been standing at the edge of something unknown for a long time, something that feels frightening and familiar at the same time. And the shadow that is trying to speak to you through this choice is asking you to finally stop pretending that the forest is not there. The part of you that is in the shadow right now is your grief. Not necessarily grief over a specific loss, though that may be part of it, but the deeper grief of having spent years being braver than you felt, stronger than you were, more composed than was actually true. Jung said that unexpressed grief does not dissolve with time. It calcifies. It becomes a wall between you and everything you actually want to feel. The door is open, only slightly, but it is open, and the bravery that got you this far is exactly the bravery that will carry you through. If you chose the second door, the glass door of light and clarity, your shadow is carrying something that surprises most people who choose this door. Because the people who are most powerfully drawn to clarity and transparency on the outside are very often the people who are most deeply afraid of being truly seen on the inside. Jung called this the persona trap. The persona is the mask we wear for the world, the version of ourselves we have carefully constructed to be acceptable, impressive, competent, together. And there is nothing wrong with having a persona. It is a necessary social tool. The problem begins when a persona becomes so polished, so well-maintained, so permanently in place, that even the person wearing it begins to forget there is someone underneath. The glass door called to you because part of you is exhausted. Not physically exhausted, though you may feel that too, but exhausted from the performance, from the constant management of how you appear, from the energy it takes to make everything look under control, when underneath there is a human being who is uncertain and tender, and sometimes has no idea what they are doing, just like everyone else. The shadow that is speaking through your choice today is the part of you that wants to be known, not admired, not impressive, just known, exactly as you are. Jung said the most radical act a person can perform is to stop performing. That is what your shadow is asking of you today. If you chose the third door, the colorful Mediterranean door with the flowers and the music and the warm air, your shadow is holding something that is almost painful in its beauty. It is holding joy. Not the polite, acceptable, reasonable kind of joy that fits neatly into a responsible adult life. The wild, uncontained, unreasonable joy that you felt before the world taught you to be sensible. Before someone told you that what you loved was impractical. Before you learned to want things quietly, so the disappointment would be smaller if they never came. Jung called this the wounded pure or puella energy, the eternal child within us that gets buried under responsibilities and practicalities, and the way to becoming a functioning adult. And what makes your shadow choice so significant is that the music coming through that door is not new music. It is music you already know. It is the sound of something you once loved that you have convinced yourself you have outgrown, but you have not outgrown it. You have just stopped letting yourself want it, because wanting things that might not happen feels more dangerous than simply not wanting them at all. Your shadow is not asking you to abandon your responsibilities. It is asking you to stop treating your own joy as the last item on the list. The door is ajar. The music is still playing, and it has been playing the whole time you were away. If you chose the fourth door, the ancient stone door with the carved symbols and the golden light, your shadow is carrying something that very few people have the courage to even approach. It is carrying your power, the full, undiminished, unedited version of who you actually are when you are not making yourself smaller to fit into the spaces other people have decided are appropriate for you. Jung called this the integration of the self, the capital S self, the core of the personality that exists beneath all adaptation, all compromise, all the ways we have learned to shrink. The stone door and its ancient symbols represent something that goes beyond your individual history. It connects to what Jung called the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience and wisdom that every person carries within them regardless of culture or background. The golden light coming through the gap is not a metaphor for something vague and spiritual. It is a very specific psychological reality. It is the light of your own unlived potential, the capabilities you have minimized, the ambitions you have dismissed as arrogance, the way of being the world that feels too large to allow yourself to actually claim. Your shadow has been protecting this power, keeping it in storage, waiting until you were ready to carry it without apologizing for it. The symbols on the door cannot be translated because they are written in a language that belongs only to you. And somewhere inside you, you already know how to read them. If you chose the fifth door, the simple, ordinary white door with a warm light underneath it, then your shadow has brought you the most profound and the most overlooked choice of all five. Because the people who choose the ordinary door are almost never ordinary people. They are people who have spent so long being extraordinary for everyone around them that they have lost complete touch with what it actually feels like to simply rest inside their own life without achieving anything, without producing anything, without being needed by anyone, just existing, just being, just allowing the ordinary, unremarkable, quietly beautiful texture of a regular moment to be enough. Jung called this the return to the self through stillness. And in a culture that measures human worth and productivity in output and constant forward motion, the ability to simply be present in an ordinary moment without guilt, without the feeling that you should be doing something more, is one of the rarest and most difficult things a human being can learn. The warm light under that white door is not the light of some great revelation or dramatic transformation. It is the light of your own life as it actually is, right now, without anything added or improved or achieved. And your shadow has been trying to bring you back to that light for longer than you realize. The door is right in front of you. It has always been right in front of you. You do not need a key. You do not need permission. You just need to stop walking past it. Whatever door you chose today, I want to leave you with the most important thing Carl Jung ever said about the shadow. He said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Read that again slowly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Every pattern that keeps repeating, every relationship that follows the same painful arc, every moment where you react in a way that surprises even yourself. Jung is saying that is not fate, that is not who you are, that is your shadow, carrying something that has never been given the space to be seen, to be heard, to be brought into the light, and finally integrated into the whole of who you are. The door you chose today is not a test you passed or failed. It is a conversation that began the moment you trusted your instinct and made a choice without thinking. And conversations, unlike tests, do not end. They continue. They deepen. They take you places you could not have predicted from where you started. Pay attention to what moved inside you today. Be curious about it. Be honest with it. And whatever you do, do not close the door you just opened.